Okay, and we are recording on our 9G notes. Um, I want to go down to this first general rule right here. All right, this first general rule. Okay, this is sort of the rule that's going to base on all this stuff, and I'm going to actually add something to this general rule as well. Okay, so that is if the dimensions of any shape multiply by a number x, the perimeter is going to multiply by x as well. All right, the perimeter is going to multiply by x. The area is going to multiply by that number squared, by x squared. All right. So we're talking about if something were to change. Okay. Now, uh, very simply, let's look at a rectangle here for a minute. Okay. So say we have a rectangle, and I don't know, the dimensions are 1/2. All right. Y'all see that right there? What would be the perimeter of this rectangle if the dimensions are 1/2? So 6. Right, 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 2 is 6. Good. The perimeter is 6. The area is what? 2. 2. 2 times 1 is 2. Okay. So now let's say, all right, the dimensions multiply by 3. What? No. We haven't talked about that yet. So let's say the dimensions multiply by 3. So now instead of 1/2, we have 3/6, right? So the dimensions multiplied by 3. Okay. What that tells us is that the perimeter is also going to multiply by 3. So the dimensions multiply by x, the perimeter multiplies by x. Okay, so the dimensions multiply by 3. Our original perimeter is going to multiply by 3. Okay, so our original perimeter is 6. What's the new perimeter going to be? 18. Right, and we can check our work if we need to. I don't have a flex right now. What are you guys doing? I think it's terrific. Give me the paper. Thank you. I've done these many times. Okay. And we could check that too if we wanted to, because 6 plus 3 plus 6 plus 3 equals 18. Okay? So if you want to draw up examples, you can. This thing had an area of 2. What's the area of this thing going to be? Sorry? It's going to be 18. Okay? So let's think about this for a minute. So the dimensions multiplied by 3, okay, because it was 1/2, now it's 3/6. The perimeter multiplied by 3, okay, went from 6 to 18, okay, because the dimensions and the perimeter do the same thing. The area is going to multiply by what? No. Okay, the dimensions, our x is 3. Okay, the dimensions multiply by 3, the perimeter multiplies by 3, area multiplies by 9, okay, because it's 3 squared. Okay, so the area multiplies by 9 because we multiply by 2 dimensions, so we multiply by 3 and we multiply by 3 again. Okay, and if we look at our original area, it went from 2, and the new area is 18. Okay. Any questions, guys, so far? Again, I'm going to try to go through this as quickly as I can and as efficiently as I can. Everybody good? You see now? Okay. So let's look at, let's see. So if we're looking at number 1 right here, can I erase all this stuff? Are we all good? Any questions? Okay. So the perimeter of a triangle is 17. The dimensions multiplied by 3. What's the perimeter of the new triangle? So it says the dimensions multiply by 3. Now, if we go back to our general rule, if the dimensions multiply by x, the perimeter multiplies by x. So dimensions multiplied by 3 means the perimeter multiplies by what? By 3, okay? If the original perimeter is 17, new perimeter is going to be 17 times 3, which is what? Yeah, Nicholas's favorite area in Nevada.
51.
There you go.
Oh,
Get an area 51. Okay. All right.
well, we actually figured out that margin.
It's Nevada. All right. And again, if you want to try to prove it, okay. So say we have a triangle here, and the sides are 5, 5, and 7. Okay, the perimeter is 17. All right. We triple the dimensions. So now we have a triangle where it's 15, 15, 21. Okay, so you go from 5, 5, 7 to 15, 15, 21, right? This perimeter, if you add up the sides, is 17. This perimeter, if you add up the sides, is going to be 51. Okay? So you can create these things if you need to, put numbers to them, and see if I'm right or if I'm just, a total tinfoil hat Looney Tune. Be nice. Okay. If we have the area of a triangle is 1400. So the area of the triangle is 1400. The dimensions multiplied by 1/5, which we could call dividing by 5. Multiplying by 1/5, dividing by 5 is the same thing. What will be the new area of the triangle? So, again, before we do this, okay, if the dimensions multiply by 1/5, what does the area multiply by? 1/5 squared. Okay, so the area is going to multiply by 1/5 squared. All right. What's that? You don't understand? Okay. But why? Okay, I'll show you why. Just hang tight. All right. Isaiah, come here. You're supposed to be in here right now, dude. So the original area is 1400, and you're going to multiply it by 1/5 squared. I pulled y'all into a mandatory flex today, Isaiah. Yeah, check your flex time manager. Yeah, no, ain't that rough? Get in here. Okay.
So if you have the opportunity.
All right. So what was our final? Yep, 56. Questions? All right. Why? All right. Let's talk about why. Ethan. Is everybody good? All right, so Ethan, let's put a thing to this here, okay? Instead of triangle, I'm gonna go rectangle. It doesn't really matter what the shape is. So I'm just gonna pretend this is a rectangle for a minute, okay? So if we have the area of a rectangle is 1400, so let's just say hypothetically this rectangle, so 1400 is 140 times 10. So let's do 10 and 140. Okay? So the dimensions are 10 and 140. You with me on that? Okay. So if the dimensions multiply by 1/5, okay? If the dimensions multiply by 1/5, which means they divide by 5, okay? Now what I'm going to have is I'm going to have a thing with 2 there, and then 140 divided by 5 is 28 right there. Okay? So what happens is 2 and 28, I can fit 5 of those in that row, right? and I can go 5 of them all the way down here. This has a length of 2. I can go 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. You know what I mean? So if we're cutting this thing, into 1/5, this should be the whole thing here, right? If we're cutting the dimensions by 1/5, we're really cutting the area by 1/25, because we're cutting it 1/5 horizontally and 1/5 vertically. Okay, so that's why we multiply by 1/5 times 1/5 again. Okay, does that make better sense?
Wait, how much is this type of thing?
One question. Yeah, and it's going to involve volume. It's going to be more of what we see on G part 2. I just want to give you all background right now. Okay? All right, so we did those 2. Is everybody good? I want to skip to the 3rd page.
This one?
No, the back side of that, I should say. Yes. Yeah, so say we have a cube that's 2 by 2 by 2. All right, and this is just going to extend. This is going to extend on our general rule. All right. What would be the surface area of a cube that's 2 by 2 by 2? It has 6 surfaces. They're all squares. It'd be 24. It'd just be 2 times 2, right? So there's 6 squares, right? Each square is 2 by 2. 2 by 2 is 4, right? Okay. We're talking about the surface area, right? The surface area, right? Adding all the surfaces up. So we have 6 squares that have an area of 4. Okay. What would the volume be if it's a cube that's 2 by 2 by 2? Please don't think too hard. A cube, 2 by 2 by 2. It's 8. You multiply the dimensions, 2 by 2 by 2 for a cube, 8. All right. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you, man. So let's say the dimensions multiply by 4. So now we have an 8 by 8 by 8 cube. All right. What would be the surface area of a thing that would be a cube that's 8 by 8 by 8? I want to say it's in the 300s if I'm not mistaken. A little higher. Okay, well, if it's 8 by 8, it's 64, right? So the surface area is going to be 384. And again, we're just putting numbers to these right now, so like the formula is really not important. We're just talking more about how they change.
Wait, how do you get 384?
Great question. So if we have a cube that's 8 by 8 by 8, Annie? So if we have a cube that's 8 by 8 by 8, so each square has an area of 64. Correct? 64 times 6 is 384. What? Sorry? Is that it right there? The thing? Okay. That's the volume. The volume's 8 times 8 times 8. Look, don't worry about the formulas right now. It's not important. I'm getting to it. Trust me. The volume, I believe, 512. Okay. All right. So coming back here for a minute. Again, if you don't understand why we got those, it's not a big deal. I'm just trying to make a point. Okay. So right here, we know that the dimensions multiplied by 4. Okay. Because we went 2 by 2 by 2 to 8 by 8 by 8. So the dimensions multiplied by 4. Y'all with me on that? Okay. If we had a perimeter, the perimeter would also multiply by 4. Okay. Because the dimensions of the perimeter do the same thing. Okay. Area. The area went, from 24 to 384. And what's 384 divided by 24? 16. So the area multiplied by 16, again, which is 4 squared, which fits the rule, right? The dimensions multiply by 4, the area multiplies by 4 squared. Okay? what did the volume multiply by if we went from 8 to 512? 64. And 64 is really 4 to what power?
4.
Not to the fourth.
Third.
Third. 4 cubed. 3 dimensions. Third power.
Okay, so it'll just multiply by the times it multiplies times
To the third power. Yep. 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 I'm sorry.
Makes too much sense.
Makes too much sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Seems totally simple.
yeah.
Well, it's 'cause, like,
Compared to like other stuff,
Right.
you know, like that.
It's not, I mean, this part's not going to be much harder than that.
Yeah, like compared to stuff like that, and then we have this. So,
What's the most questions that a unit has on the test?
What do you mean?
Like,
Like the unit that has the most questions on the test?
yeah.
The final?
No, I mean, like, the test
Which note sheet?
tomorrow.
Which note sheet?
Yeah.
I would say probably D and E. Again, this is just the last part of our unit. Again, we could have spent a little bit more time going over this stuff in depth. The videos that I put up there go over it a little bit more in depth. But again, since they canceled the thing on Thursday and we can't go Friday, this is kind of our best option. Okay?
Monday. No.
No, we have spring break. Okay. Coach Pap's gonna be hanging out in Miami with Dylan on Monday. In spring, a little spring break action right here.
I'm hopefully gonna go visit my baby cousin.
Okay. Let's see.
4.
I have an idea. Let's go to G part 2 because the one that's on the quiz is gonna kind of look more like the G part 2. I just wanted to give you all a little bit of a background. Let's do these G part 2s together, and then I'll give you guys the rest of the time to go back over G part 1, and we'll actually I'll stop recording there. All right, so a shape has a volume of 600. If the dimensions multiply by 1.2, what's the volume of the new shape? So to find the volume of the new shape, if we know the original volume is 600, the dimensions multiply by 1.2. We're going to multiply 600 by what? 1.2 cubed. We're going to multiply by 1.2 cubed, okay? Because we're talking about volume now, right? So the original volume is 600, okay? With the dimensions multiplied by 1.2 cubed. All right? So 600 times 1.2 times another 1.2 times another 1.2 is going to give us our thing. 1036.8. Okay. I'll trust you on that. Everybody just make sure that we are correct. We are? Okay. All right, another shape has a volume of 1240. The dimensions divide by 2. What is the volume of the new shape? So we have 1240. If the dimensions divide by 2, the volume is going to divide by what? By 2 to the third power. Good. Uh-huh. Yep. So a shape has a volume of 1240. The dimensions divide by 2. So the volume of the new shape is going to be 1240 divided by 8, which is 155.
the catch?
Yeah, what's the catch?
What's the catch?
What's the catch here?
What's the extra
Just
5
wait,
steps
this is
that
way
we have
too,
to
this is
do?
way too easy. Where's the exception?
Like what's the catch?
Actually,
Yeah.
The deadliest catch.
Oh no, that's interesting.
There is no catch.
Are you sure?
there's no way.
So we just don't.
You're
You're
sure that
telling
there's no
us
like
that this is
27
simple?
step process that we have to do?
And then get the answer wrong.
Yeah, and then get the answer wrong. You sure we
You
don't
know,
have to-
I'm gonna make up one additional question on this.
Sure we don't have to make our own
You know what? That's the catch right there.
No. Just listen. Shh. It's okay. What's up, Big Si? Well, let's do these two, and then I'm gonna create one more. And the one I'm gonna create might just look like the one we see on the quiz.
Can it? Wait.
And by might, I mean
Can
it's
that
gonna
one-
look a lot like the one that we see on the quiz.
Can that one be Word? Test grades?
Oh, so now we want. Now we're ready for the quiz. Now we can't wait.
No. Just that one.
Can we just have a
question.
quiz on 9G?
Oh man, how the tables have turned.
I think we should just have a quiz on 1A.
No. Look, just that one question,
No, I
and then
needed
cancel.
1A. No.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Can we just have a quiz on 9G?
Can we? How about we finish this, ladies and gentlemen? So a shape has a volume of 15. The dimensions multiply by 2.3.
182.5.
So what are we gonna do with the 15? Multiply by 2.3 cubed. Very good. Okay, because we're working with volume right here.
182.5.
What was the answer?
182.5.
182.5. Okay. All right. So a shape has a volume of 2160. The dimensions divide by 3. Okay, dividing by 3 is the same as multiplying by 1/3. Really, whichever way you do, it's fine with me. So we have 2160. The dimensions divide by 3. So the new volume, we have to do what?
Oh, sorry. You gotta divide by 3.
Divide by 3 cubed. Okay? Or divide by 3 cubed. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me erase that. We have a few people that ain't here. I wanted to make sure I could record. I think Janai and somebody else was not be here, so I was going to record. So 2160 divided by 3 cubed left us with what? Straight 80?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Questions? All right. Let's take a look at one more, shall we? I'm going to make this one up off the top of my head. And again, I'm pulling this off the top of my head because it's really kind of off the top of the quiz. If that interests you. It's not exactly like the one on the quiz, but, you know. What? It might have a decimal, it might not. What does it matter, Bryson? We all know the process. What?
You have notes.
We have a computer on the quiz.
You're taking it on Eduphoria.
Yeah. He doesn't even have to do whatever.
Can we have the answers on the quiz?
What's that?
Can we have the answers on the quiz?
Can you have the answers on the quiz?
Yeah, like the answer key.
If you get it right.
Are you out of your mind?
Wait. Can you tell us if we get it right before we submit it?
No. Why don't I just do the quizzes for you guys? How about that?
Yeah.
Why don't we do that? Or
That would be.
we just don't do a quiz at all.
Yeah, that's even better, right?
Talk to my bosses about that. See how they feel.
Alright, where they at?
What's that?
Easy.
They're probably at happy hour right now while I'm still here slaving away. That's probably where they're at.
Who are your bosses?
Oh yeah, who's gonna be your new boss?
The Russians. They're my bosses.
Ethan, Matt directly is his boss.
All right.
I don't think there's gonna be a boss.
Terrific. Let's say the height. Let's say the height of this cone is 12.
Cone or
Cone. It's a cone because we're working volume now. Okay? And the reason they do it is they sort of do like a cone-shaped glass on the dang quiz. Okay? And now let's just say there's 90 ounces of water. Let's say there's 90 ounces of water in this cone. It's totally full. Okay? So there's 90 ounces of water in this cone right here. Isn't my picture pretty?
yeah.
Okay, so now let's say this. Let's say we drink up until there's only 8 ounces, or 8. Not check that. At the height is 8. So let's say we drink 4 inches worth of water out the cup. Okay. No, there's not. The volume. We don't know. We're trying to find the volume of water left. Let not your heart be troubled. Okay? So first of all, we need to find out what the dimensions do. Okay? So the height was 12, now the height was 8. Multiply by what? They multiply by 2/3, right? So the dimensions multiply by 2/3. Okay? The dimensions multiply by 2/3. Okay? And heck, you could say, again, I'm not a big fan of reducing fractions right here. Okay? We could say if we want to, the dimensions multiply by 8/12. If we want. Because the new height is 8, the old height was 12. So the dimensions multiply by 8/12. Or 4/6, or 2/3, or no. 12 divided by 6 is not 8. It's definitely not 8. Anyway, so the dimensions multiply by 8/12. What does a volume multiply by? 8/12, 2/3 to the third power. Okay, so the volume multiplies by 8/12 to the third power. What was our original volume? 90, right? If our original volume is 90, I'm going to write this up here. Okay, and we drink, we drink 1/3 out of the glass, so there's 2/3 left. Okay. So we're going to go 90 times 8/12, or 2/3 if you want to. I'm just going to leave it unreduced right now. To the third power. So 90 times 2/3 times 2/3 times 2/3. Annie? Oh, did you have your hand up?
No.
Okay.
I can tell you what I got though.
What'd you get?
I got 26.66666.
26.666666. Okay. We'll call about 26.67 ounces. All right. So really, if we drink out of our cup to where we drink, like 1/3 of the height away, you know what I mean? Really, how much we're drinking away is, more, it's basically 53 ounces, 63 ounces. So that's a lot. All right, so what we're left with is 26.67 ounces here. That's a big cone, by the way. 90-ounce cone.
What's the difference between a teacher and an employee?
What's that?
For a sender portal, what's the difference between a teacher and an employee?
Okay, so the teacher one is the grade book, right? The employee thing has all like my tax forms and my no, it has my tax forms. It has all my personal information. It has like all the days that I've taken off ever since I've been here, which is like 2. It might have my social security number in there. I don't know.
What is
What's that?
What's the last 4 digits of your credit card? Does that have your address by chance?
I live in a gated community.
Gates are gates are always openable.
Bolt cutters.
But,
It's one of those electric.
can we just talk about how good that is? Been on this climate.
Hey, water.
Well, it's a gated apartment community. Let's not. I'm not Mr. I'm not Mr. Bougie. I live in a gated apartment complex in a very, very sketchy neighborhood. I'll tell you that.
So maybe he's not making it like he's almost.
All right. So that's the rest of our G notes. I'm going to stop recording right here.